The serving spoon slips from my hand, clattering against the tiled kitchen floor of my parents' coastal house in Charleston, South Carolina. Thick brown gravy splashes across my apron, staining it in uneven shapes that look like ink blots, almost like a test revealing my family's lack of care. From the dining room, just 15 feet away but feeling like another universe, I hear the sound of crystal glasses clinking and cheerful laughter echoing over polished marble counters. They started dinner without me. I stand frozen for a moment, the cheerful noise spilling into the kitchen like a wave crashing over me. Mum promised earlier in the week that we'd all sit down together once everything was ready. But that was before my younger brother Ethan arrived 2 hours ago. Ethan, with his shiny Tesla and his leather luggage, rolled into the driveway like some kind of celebrity. Mum and Dad lit up the second he walked through the door, his charm and stories instantly becoming the center of attention. To Ethan, my father's voice booms from the dining room for bringing this family together on Thanksgiving. The edge in his words slices straight through me. I've been here since Tuesday, chopping, stirring, seasoning, basting. Every dish done by my hands. Meanwhile, Ethan, empty-handed, only brought a bottle of wine, one I'd bet money was gifted to him by someone else. I bend to clean the spilled gravy, my knees cracking as they hit the hard tile. From this low angle, I can see them clearly through the doorway. Mum straightens Ethan's collar like he's still a boy. Dad pours him more wine. Aunt Linda leans in close to catch every detail of his latest success story. Not one of them notices. I'm missing. 3 weeks ago, Mum started the family group chat with her usual excitement. Thanksgiving planning, she wrote. We'll make whatever Ethan likes this year since he's been so busy with work. I had suggested something new, maybe going to a restaurant by the bay, giving everyone a break from cooking. Her reply came fast. Traditions matter, dear. Besides, you're so good in the kitchen. Translation, you're useful in the kitchen. I grab a fresh towel and wipe my hands. My fingers finally stop trembling, but something deep inside me shifts, like 2 massive plates of earth grinding together before an earthquake. I lift the heavy silver gravy boat, filled to the top with the sauce I worked on all morning. It belonged to my grandmother, who spent her life serving meals to men who never questioned whether she mattered. Carrying it into the dining room, I place it down on the table with a firm thunk that shakes the crystal glasses. 5 pairs of eyes glance up briefly before turning back to Ethan, who's in the middle of telling everyone about his golf game with a client. Honey, Mom says without looking at me, can you grab more ice for Ethan's drink? The words hang in the air, 2 days of cooking. Ethan hasn't lifted a finger. The response slips from me before I can swallow it back. No. The single syllable drops like a stone into water, breaking the surface. Conversations stop. Ethan's mouth hangs open mid-story. Mum blinks, her smile faltering. I'm sorry, I add. I said no. Dad sets his fork down, his face tightening. Your brother drove all the way from Savannah. 2 hours, I reply. My voice is steady, though my heart pounds. He drove 2 hours. I've been here for 2 days. The silence stretches, filled with all the unspoken rules I just broke. For 35 years, I've known that my place in this family is conditional, that love comes with strings. And I've just cut one. Mom laughs nervously, smoothing her napkin. Clara's just tired from cooking all day. She turns to Ethan. The turkey is exceptional this year, don't you think? And just like that, the moment is swept aside. The conversation rushes back around me, like a river flowing past a rock. But something's different. For the first time, I pushed back, instead of letting it carry me downstream. I pour myself a glass of wine, ignoring the tremor still in my hands. When I glance up, Aunt Rachel, sitting at the far end of the table, catches my eye. She gives me the slightest nod, a signal of quiet support. I sip, the warmth spreading through my chest. Thanksgiving just became something else entirely. Later, the turkey sits half-eaten on the table as I slip into the kitchen for air. My pulse is still racing from that single no. The rebellion echoes inside me like electricity. Mum's single quotes, ice iPad. Glows on the counter. Facebook notifications flood the screen. I shouldn't look, but curiosity pulls me in. Her latest post makes my breath catch. Excited for Ethan's special Thanksgiving menu. Can't wait to taste what my talented son planned for our family. My talented son. Not one mention of who shopped, chopped, baked, basted. Not one word about who woke at 5 in the morning to roast the turkey. Scrolling, I see photo after photo. Easter, birthdays. Ethan front and center, arm around mom or dad, smiling big. In a few, I spot the edge of my sweater, the blur of my elbow, the back of my head carrying dishes. Not one photo shows me at the table. Not one. The kitchen feels smaller, the walls pressing in. 35 years of being invisible now, undeniable, documented in digital proof. Clara, where's the pumpkin pie? Mum calls from the dining room. Close the iPad, grab the pies, and steady my trembling hands. When I return, Ethan is still holding court. Dad beams beside him. Mum dotes on every word. Just set them on the sideboard, honey, she says, without looking up. I set them down, knife in hand, standing like a server, waiting for permission. Ethan, tell them about your new house. Mum prompts, touching his arm. He leans back, stretching his designer shirt across his shoulders. Just closed on a place in Hilton Head, right by the beach. Perfect for entertaining. Dad nods, proud. We should all go visit, like our trip to Key Largo last spring. The knife nearly slips from my fingers. What trip? They look at each other, caught. Oh, it was just a quick weekend, Mum says lightly. You were so busy with work. I wasn't invited, I say flatly. The words fall like stones. Ethan shifts. Uncomfortable, but Aunt Linda jumps in quickly. Speaking of family gatherings, Ethan, I've decided you should have Grandma's china cabinet. It'll look perfect in your new dining room. The cabinet I've admired since childhood. The one I imagined holding my own small collection of depression glass. Thanks, Ethan says, not looking at me. Dad adds, he needs it more, Clara, with the new house and all. Your mother and I helped with the down payment, but mortgage. Rates are rough these days. The pieces click into place. The same parents who scolded me for buying my modest condo in Orlando, with no help, calling me irresponsible, had just handed Ethan a beach house. I swallow hard. More pie, anyone? My voice sounds hollow. I cut and serve, standing while they eat, my presence reduced to labor. With each bite, the truth presses deeper. My worth in this family is service. Cooking, cleaning, organizing holidays. Nothing else. If I stopped, I wonder silently, would I even exist to them? Coffee, dear, Mum calls sweetly, and more napkins. Ethan spilled a little gravy. I nod automatically, tears threatening. As I pass Aunt Rachel, she reaches. Under the table, squeezing my hand. I see you, she whispers. The words nearly undo me, back in the kitchen. Waiting for the coffee pot to hiss, I watch them through the doorway, my family. Enjoying the feast I created. The question rises unbidden. Do I keep the peace, or finally demand respect? The coffee finishes brewing. I straighten my shoulders. A seed of resistance has been planted, and I can feel it growing roots. The kitchen clock ticks louder than usual, its hands dragging across the silence. Thanksgiving dishes are stacked in messy towers, grease cooling into waxy layers. I stand barefoot on the tile floor, rinsing plates under water that runs hotter than my patience. Behind me, the dining room is still alive with laughter. Ethan's voice carries through the open doorway, warm and booming, the center of every story. I want to shut the door. I want to shut him out. But that would only draw more attention. Instead, I let the scalding water burn my skin. The sting, a reminder that I am still here. Clara, when you're done there, Mom calls sweetly. Could you bring in coffee and dessert plates? The sentence isn't a question. It's an expectation. I don't answer right away. My throat is tight, my chest heavy. I want to scream. I am not the maid. But I stay quiet, my rebellion from earlier shrinking into the corners of the kitchen. When I finally walk back in with a tray, Ethan is in the middle of describing his holiday plans. I'm taking Mia to Aspen for Christmas. Skiing, hot cocoa by the fire, the whole thing. Mia, his new girlfriend, blonde, polished, always in heels. I've met her twice. Both times she complimented my shoes and then spent the rest of the evening glued to Ethan's side, whispering like they were the stars of a movie and the rest of us were background actors. Mum clasps her hands together, delighted. How romantic. Dad raises his glass. A Christmas in Aspen? That's the life. Then, as if on cue, Mum turns to me. Clara, would you host Christmas Eve this year? You know how much your brother loves your pot roast. The tray shakes in my hands. The nerve of it. Ethan is headed to Aspen, and I'm expected to stay home, scrubbing casserole dishes in my tiny Orlando condo so everyone else can have their perfect Christmas. I can't, I hear myself say. The words are quiet but firm, surprising even me. The room pauses again, just like it did earlier when I refused to get ice. All eyes turn. My way, you can't. Mom repeats, her voice dipping into that familiar tone of disbelief, like I'd just announced I was moving to Mars. I have a big deadline at work. I'll be working late most nights in December. Dad frowns. Work isn't everything, Clara. Family comes first. Family comes first. The same line I've heard 100 times, but only ever directed at me, not at Ethan, who misses birthdays, anniversaries, and Mother's Day brunch without consequence. Only me. I need to focus on my career, I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. Mom's lips press into a thin line. Well, we'll just have to figure something out. Her eyes slide to Ethan. Maybe when you're back from Aspen, you can host New Year's. Ethan grins, always ready to play hero. Of course, we'll make it special. And just like that, the burden shifts, the spotlight tilts, and I fade back into the shadows. But inside, something is cracking open. The week after Thanksgiving is a blur of deadlines and late nights. At the hospital where I work as a physician's assistant, December is brutal. Patients fill every room, coughing, wheezing, sneezing, the air thick with exhaustion. I barely have time to eat, let alone shop for gifts or string lights around. My condo windows dot at night. I collapse into bed still wearing scrubs, the faint smell of antiseptic clinging to my hair. I scroll through Instagram until sleep takes me. Ethan and Mia are already posting photos from Aspen, laughing in a fur-lined jacket. Him holding a glass of champagne by the ski lodge fire. The likes pile up. Mom comments on every post. So proud of you. Looks magical. You two are perfect together. She never comments on my photos. Not the one of me with my team in the ER. Not the picture of my new condo I bought all on my own. Not even the snapshot of the lasagna I made from scratch last month. Silence. Always silence. By mid-December. I stopped posting it all. 2 nights before Christmas. Mum calls. Clara, sweetheart, what are you making for Christmas Eve? Just something simple. Maybe your famous pecan pie. I take a deep breath, holding the phone tight. Mom, I told you, I'm working late. I can't host. Oh, don't be dramatic. You can throw something together. We'll all bring a little. Something. I close my eyes. I picture myself stumbling home after a 12-hour shift, racing to vacuum, set the table, and cook for 12 people who won't even thank me. My stomach knots. I can't, I repeat. I need to take care of myself this year. The silence on the line is sharp. Then Mum sighs. I don't know what's gotten into you lately, Clara. First Thanksgiving, now this. We've always counted on you to keep traditions alive. If family doesn't matter, then what does? I matter, I whisper. It's so quiet, I'm not sure she hears me. But I feel it. A spark. A flame. I'm sorry, I add, but I won't be hosting. I'll see you on Christmas Day. Before she can argue, I hang up. My hands shake. But my chest feels lighter than it has in years. Christmas Eve comes. I spend it alone in my condo, heating up leftover Thai takeout, sipping red wine, and watching a cheesy holiday movie. At first, the silence feels heavy, pressing down on me. I scroll through family group chat, messages, photos of the spread at Aunt Linda's house. Ethan's smiling face on a video call from Aspen. Mum's endless captions about how blessed she feels. No one mentions me, but as the night stretches on, the weight starts to lift. For once, I'm not scrubbing pans at midnight. For once, I'm not so exhausted I cry in the shower. I'm just me, and it's enough Christmas morning. I drive to my parents' house. The air is crisp, the sky painted pale blue. I park in the driveway, nerves twisting in my stomach. I almost turn around, but something stronger pushes me forward. Inside, the house smells like pine and cinnamon. Wrapping paper litters the floor. Mugs of cocoa line the coffee table. Ethan and Mia are still in Aspen, but their photos play in a slideshow on the TV. Mum proudly clicking through each one. I set my small bag of gifts under the tree. Dad hugs me absent-mindedly, already halfway back to his chair. Mom gives me a distracted kiss on the cheek before pulling out her phone. Look at this one, she says, showing me a photo of Ethan kissing Mia in front of a Christmas tree made of ice sculptures. It's beautiful, I manage, isn't it? He's really building such a wonderful life. Her eyes shine. We're so lucky. Lucky. I sit on the couch, watching everyone else open gifts. When it's finally my turn, I unwrap a set of kitchen towels, red with embroidered snowflakes. Thought, you'd like those for hosting, Mum says. I press my lips together, forcing a smile. Thank you. In return, I hand her a framed photo of the two of us from years ago. One of the rare times she and I were both in the same picture. She glances at it, says, "Oh, that's nice," and sets it aside. The spark inside me flares again. I am done being invisible. Later, when the kitchen buzzes with cleanup, I find Aunt Rachel by the sink. She dries her hands on a towel and looks at me with quiet concern. "You held your ground this year," she says softly. "I'm proud of you." The words bring tears to my eyes. It doesn't feel like anyone else is. They don't see it yet. But you're changing the story, Clara, little by little. Her voice is steady, like an anchor in a storm. I cling to it. That night, back in my condo, I sit by the small artificial tree I set up in my living room. It's lopsided, half the bulbs don't work, but it glows anyway. For the first time in years, Christmas doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like a beginning. The first week of January always feels like a hangover, even if I haven't touched a drop of alcohol. The hospital corridors are thick with coughing, every exam room packed with flu patients and post-holiday stress cases. I bury myself in charts and lab results, grateful for the distraction. But even here, I can't escape the constant ping of the family group chat. Mum, don't forget New Year's at Ethan's house. He's so excited to host. Aunt Linda, I'll bring the shrimp cocktail. Dad, looking forward to the new golf course nearby. I scroll through, waiting for anyone to ask if I'll be there. But no one does. My name isn't even mentioned that by the time New Year's Eve arrives. I've already decided I won't go. I work the evening shift at the hospital, and by midnight, I'm sitting in the staff lounge, sipping lukewarm coffee with a couple of exhausted nurses. The TV in the corner shows fireworks exploding over Times Square. We count down together, voices low and tired when the clock hits midnight. I whisper my own resolution into the empty air. No more disappearing. The next morning, I check my phone. Dozens of photos flood the chatty-thon, and Mia smiling in. Front of his new Hilton Head house, champagne flutes raised, sparklers glowing in the night. Everyone tagged, everyone praised, except me. I scroll until my thumb aches, searching for even a trace of acknowledgement. Nothing. That's when I notice something small but sharp. Mom's caption on one of Ethan's photos. "So proud of you. Son, you're keeping the family legacy alive." The words stopped me cold. Family legacy. My entire life, I'd heard whispers about our legacy. Grandpa's real estate business in Charleston. The land he bought decades ago. The story of how he turned a single rundown property into a string of rentals. I thought it was just dinner table nostalgia, nothing more. But the phrase, keeping the family legacy alive, sticks like a thorn in my side. Why Ethan? Why always Ethan? 2 weeks later, I find out. I stop by my parents' house one Saturday. After a long shift, my hair is pulled back in a messy bun, my scrubs wrinkled, my hands dry from sanitizer. I just want to drop off the sweater Mum left at my place. As I step inside, I hear voices from Dad's study. "I knew you'd handle it," Dad says, his voice deep and proud. "Yeah," Ethan replies smoothly. The investors were impressed. That Hilton Head property's just the start. We'll double our portfolio this year. Portfolio, investors. I freeze in the hallway, clutching the folded sweater to my chest. Dad lowers his voice. "Your sister doesn't need to know all the details. She has enough on her plate at the hospital." Ethan laughs. "She wouldn't understand anyway." My stomach twists. The sweater slips from my hands, tumbling silently to the floor. I retreat before they notice, my pulse hammering in my ears. So this is the legacy. The business, the money, the plans whispered behind closed doors. And I'm not even a footnote. That night, I sit at my tiny kitchen table, staring at the blank page of a journal I haven't touched in years. I write one sentence. What if I stopped? Trying to earn a place that was never mine to begin with. The question hangs there, black ink on white paper. For years, I've measured myself against Ethan, against the pedestal they put him on. No matter how much I did, it was never enough. But what if I stopped playing the game entirely? Mid-January, the group chat lights up again. "Mom, big family dinner next Saturday. Ethan has exciting news to share." I almost ignore it, but something inside me refuses. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's the small, stubborn flame that's been growing since Thanksgiving. So I go. The restaurant is upscale, all white tablecloths and polished silverware. When I walk in, everyone is already seated. Ethan sits at the head of the table like a king, Mia at his side, their hands intertwined. Mom beams when she sees me. "Clara, you made it." She says it like it's a surprise, like I'm the guest, who barely counts. I slide into the only empty chair, directly across from Ethan. He clears his throat dramatically, tapping his glass. So, Mia and I are engaged. Gasps, cheers, applause. Mum claps her hands together, tears already brimming. Dad raises his wine glass. Aunt Linda squeals. I force a smile, murmuring congratulations. Then Ethan continues, and there's more. Dad and I are officially relaunching the family business. New properties, new investments. It's time to honor Grandpa's legacy the right way. The table erupts again. Mum dabs her eyes with a napkin. "Oh, your grandfather would be so proud." I sit frozen, words sticking in my throat. Not one mention of me. Not one acknowledgement that I've built my own career, bought my own condo, survived on my own dot. No, the legacy belongs to Ethan. Always Ethan. When the server brings out champagne, I don't raise my glass. I can't. Instead, I hear my own voice quiet, but steady. When were you going to tell me? The table falls silent. Ethan blinks. Tell you what? That you and Dad were restarting the business. That the legacy wasn't meant to include me. Mom shifts uncomfortably. Clara, this isn't really your area. I cut her off. No, it never is it? My area is cooking, cleaning, serving pie. My area is staying quiet while Ethan gets everything. The house, the cabinet, the money, now the legacy. The words tumble out, sharp and unstoppable. Years of silence breaking all at once. Clara, Dad starts, but I shake my head. I've given everything to this family. Holidays, birthdays, every tradition. And it's never enough. Because no matter what I do, I'll never be Ethan. The silence is thick, every eye on me. My chest heaves, but I don't back down. I'm done fighting for scraps of attention. If the legacy belongs to Ethan, fine, keep it. But don't expect me to keep breaking myself just to be seen. I push back my chair, the scrape loud against the polished floor. For a moment, no one moves. Then Aunt Rachel's voice cuts through. She's right. All heads turn. Rachel folds her napkin calmly, her eyes steady. You've leaned on Clara for years. You've taken her for granted, and you don't even see it. Mum gasps. But Rachel doesn't flinch. Ethan might carry the business, but Clara carries this family, and you've treated her like a servant, not a daughter. The table splinters into murmurs. Protests, awkward silence. I stand there, heart pounding, tears burning behind my eyes. For the first time, I don't wait for permission. I turn and walk out. Outside, the winter air bites my skin. My breath fogs in front of me, sharp and fast. I don't know where I'm going. I just know it isn't back inside. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A text from Rachel. Proud of you. Don't let them pull you back in. I clutch the phone, my chest loosening for the first time all night. Maybe I don't need the legacy. Maybe I don't need their approval. Maybe all I need is to finally live my own life, on my own terms. Back at home, I pour myself a glass of wine and sit at my kitchen table. The journal open again. This time, the words flow fast. I am not invisible. I am not second place. I am not a servant. I am Clara, and this year I choose me. The ink smears where my tears fall. But I don't stop writing, because for the first time in 35 years, I believe it. January bleeds into February. Work is endless, patients stacked one after another, like dominoes, each one falling into the next. Flu season peaks, and I barely sleep. At night, I collapse into bed, exhausted, but my mind won't quiet. The dinner at the restaurant replays again and again. My words echo. Rachel's voice defending me. The stunned silence. They haven't called since. For years, I thought silence from my family was unbearable, but this time it feels like oxygen. Valentine's Day arrives. I spend it at the hospital, treating a man who swallowed a fishbone and a woman who slipped on ice outside a grocery store. When I finally drag myself home, a package waits at my door. Inside is a framed photograph. It's from Thanksgiving. Years ago, the whole family gathered in the dining room, smiling at the camera. Ethan, of course, is front and center. But the photo isn't new. It's been altered. My cousin Emily, who does graphic design, had taken it upon herself to brighten the shadows. For the first time, I see myself clearly standing at the edge. Half hidden, holding a tray of food, she attached a note. I found you in this picture. Thought you should have proof you were always there. I stare at the photo for a long time, tears blurring my vision. Always there, just never seen until now. In March, the call comes. It's Mum. Her voice is brittle, cracking around the edges. Clara, we need you. Your father's in the hospital. Heart palpitations. They're keeping him overnight. For a moment, instinct kicks in. The old Clara would have dropped everything, raced to Charleston, fallen right back into her role. But then I remember all the nights I cried alone, all the holidays I worked myself raw while they laughed without me. I take a breath. I'll come, but not as your maid. Not as the one who fixes everything quietly in the background. If I'm there, you'll hear me. All of me. Mum doesn't answer right away. Then, just, come. The hospital smells like antiseptic, and fear, the same as mine. Dad lies in a bed, wires attached to his chest, monitors beeping steadily. He looks smaller than I remember, his pride deflated. Ethan is already there, of course. Sitting in the chair beside him, polished shoes shining, a cup of Starbucks in his hand. "Clara," he says with a curt nod, as if we're business associates, not siblings. I ignore him and step closer to Dad. "How are you feeling?" "Like a damn fool," he mutters. "Doctor says I need to slow down. No more cigars, no more late-night meetings." Mum hovers nearby, wringing her hands. "We're just so grateful Ethan's been handling things. The business, the calls." I cut her off. Enough. This isn't about Ethan. This is about Dad's health. And this family. The room goes still. Dad looks up at me, his eyes sharp despite the wires and the gown. "What are you saying?" I steady myself. My heart hammers, but my voice is firm. "I'm saying I won't keep pretending. I won't be the background anymore. I've spent my whole life serving this family, and it's never been enough. Not once. I deserve respect. I deserve to be seen." Mom opens her mouth, but I don't. Let her speak. "On Thanksgiving, I cooked for 2 days straight, and you gave Ethan the credit. At Christmas, I said no for the first time, and you made me feel guilty. On New Year's, you handed Ethan the legacy and told me I wasn't part of it. And all along, I'd been invisible." My voice breaks, but I push through. "No more. If I stay in this family, it's as Clara. Not the servant. Not the filler. Not the shadow. Clara." The words hang heavy in the sterile air. Ethan shifts uncomfortably. "You're being dramatic. No one sees you that way." I whirl on him. "Don't you dare. You've taken every spotlight, every scrap of pride they had to give, and you never once looked behind you to see who was holding everything up." He opens his mouth, but Dad raises a weak hand. "Stop." The command slices the air. Ethan goes quiet. Dad looks at me for a long time, his eyes unreadable. Finally, he sighs. "She's right." The words hit harder than any shout. Mom gasps. "What?" "She's right," Dad repeats, his voice rough. "We leaned on her more than we should have. Treated her like help instead of a daughter. I let it happen. I let Ethan take center stage because it was easier." He swallows, the monitor beeping steadily. "Clara, I see you now." Tears spill down my cheeks before I can stop them. For 35 years, I've waited for those words. Mum presses her hands to her mouth, stunned. Ethan stares at the floor. Jaw tight, no one speaks. The next weeks blur into follow-ups and recovery. Dad is fragile but improving. The family moves more carefully, as if afraid of cracking open the silence again. But something has shifted. When Easter arrives, Mum asks what? "I want to eat." She actually writes it down. When Ethan brags about a new deal, Dad listens but doesn't shower him with praise. And when I walk into the room, people pause. They notice that it isn't perfect. It isn't equal. But for the first time, I'm not invisible. On a warm April afternoon, I drive back to Charleston alone. The air smells like salt water and jasmine. The roads lined with blooming azaleas. I stop at my parents' house, where the cabinet I always loved still stands in the corner of the dining room. Ethan never took it, after all. Mum says it belongs to the family, but for once, I don't push, because I've learned something bigger than cabinets or legacies. I don't need their furniture. I don't need their business. I don't need to fight for a seat at their table. I can build my own. That night, back in Orlando, I host dinner for the first time in years. Not for them, for me. I invite my co-workers, my neighbors, even Rachel, who drives up with a bottle of wine. We squeeze into my small condo, eating lasagna straight from the oven, laughing until our stomachs hurt. No one asks me to fetch ice. No one forgets to include me in the photos. When we finally sit down, I look around at the mismatched plates, the cheap candles, the crooked smiles, and for the first time in my life, I feel it. I am not invisible. I am Clara, and I am enough. Months later, I get a text from Mom. A simple picture. Me, standing in the kitchen at Easter, holding a plate of deviled eggs. The caption, "So grateful for Clara. It's small, but it's a start. And this time, I don't need more, because I already know who I am."